Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's dandelion lesson here on Patreon. And boy, it's been a busy week. I am up to my chin in work for my book right now, and I'm actually really behind. And I have 3 days here at home alone this weekend, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday, and I might not even get dressed. I'm just gonna work nonstop and get caught up. Um, it's going okay, but it's just I'm a little bit overwhelmed. So I drew a card today, and it's funny because the card that I drew from my Super Oracle was Perseverance, and really, it couldn't be more perfect. Sometimes it's just tough, when you're working on something big. You all know this from your own lives, and it's not going as well as you want it to go, and you're getting behind, and you've got other commitments and things like that. And sometimes you just have to put the pedal to the metal and just keep on going, right? And so I had a big issue with my scanner. I have to do a lot of scanning and then editing in Photoshop for the images for the book, to make the paper look white and things like that. And I was having a real issue with my scanner. So I think I got that straightened out. I'm gonna try that again tomorrow. But anyways, Perseverance, this card. So it shows sun. But the sun's rays are a little spiky, so maybe not that friendly. There's distant mountains, there's ocean, and then there's this rocky kind of cliff here with this craggy tree growing out from the side of it, seemingly impossibly, right? And it looks dead, but there's still life, right? There's still life on this tree. It's hanging in there and doing the best it can. It's defying the odds and the elements. And that is what this card delivers to us, that message, right? And so I'll read to you what it says in here. Perseverance, misery, social exclusion, and indigence, sorry. These are just some of the extreme ordeals many of us undergo on life's unfolding journey. To survive the dangers the world throws at us requires a strong sense of oneself and a practice of calmness within the chaos. Not all problems can be solved immediately, but all can be conquered with persistence. Step by step, the small achievements add up and open your path to a place where your spirit can rest and your heart can begin anew, as all problems are really just preparation for a new path, a new state of consciousness that will introduce you to greater accomplishments. So the keywords are danger, truth, thoroughness, endurance, and calmness. And I don't really feel a sense of danger, even though this card certainly could suggest that. But it's interesting, a practice of calmness within the chaos. And I have to be honest, I am a meditator. I have a meditation practice and a yoga practice. I did some yoga today, but I've been so, how it is when you're working and you've got so many other things and your days just rush by and you sort of push aside the things that aren't absolutely necessary to getting the job done. And I've had a few days where I haven't done my meditation and I really feel it. And so tomorrow I'm going to get up and do that. And I'm even going to take a break in the middle of the day and do my meditation practice, because that is one thing that I do that provides calmness within chaos for me. And the other thing that I do is just paint, simple things like we did in our last dandelion lesson, something like this where I'm just playing with beautiful paints, right, on paper. And I've done a little bit of that. I haven't even really posted to Instagram except in my stories, because I know I just don't have time to respond right now or even browse. I haven't even really been browsing or looking. So if I've missed something you posted, I'm so sorry, and I'll try to catch up, but I might not. So you have to find a way to bring that calm within the chaos. sort of the eye of the storm, right? You can sort of find that quiet, still place, even with a lot of stuff going on around you. And that's what I look for in my creative practice all the time, all the time. And especially things that are more intuitive, like the projects we do here, even just sitting down and swatching colors, or even playing with colored pencils for a few minutes, and just sitting down and breathing and relaxing with my work. My really important work is my intuitive work, right? The work that we do here in Dandelion Lessons. So with that said, I've also been learning a new medium, and I spend like 20 minutes in the morning sort of playing with it. I've been learning how to use alcohol markers, and that's something that I've never done before, and I'm going to be using it for a future project that's coming up right after my book is done. And so I'm trying to teach myself, and boy, the learning curve is huge. It is really hard for me. I'm so used to the delicateness of watercolor and the ability to make edges very soft and things like that. And with markers, it's a whole different approach. And so I've been enjoying it. Yeah, I really enjoy it actually, but it's something very different. And I'd say the first couple weeks that I was working with them, boy, I felt like I'd never get it. And I'm just starting to see progress, right? So there's a little perseverance. And we just can't give up. We have to keep pushing on. So I wanted to do a little project today that sort of reminds me of perseverance. At the farm next door where we walk, there is a tree, and I've actually drawn the tree and painted the tree. There's actually a drawing of it in my exhibition that you might have seen. And it's this old maple that's sort of growing out, and it's been hit by lightning and has suffered a lot of loss of limbs. And it's just this one center little kind of craggy trunk, and then this big branch that comes over to the side. And there's two of them, and one of them actually broke a little bit this year, and we were so sad about it. But where it broke, it's sort of resting on the ground now, and where it broke, there's new growth coming out. It's just amazing, right? Nature is amazing that way. And so I also thought about, that tree is a little bit difficult to paint probably for a dandelion lesson, but I thought about when we see plants growing out of rocks, and we've all seen that before. And so I thought we could try something like that. And so I'm just gonna paint, and I'm gonna use my Gallo paints. These are, is a set called Naturale 24, plus I added a couple extra colors into it. And I love this palette. This is actually the palette that I'm using for my next project. These types of colors, they're very soft and muted and natural. There's nothing harsh or bright here. I absolutely love them. Love them, love them. So many greens. Very delicate greens. These paints are very delicate. Very delicate. So I was going to use those, and I have them right here. And you can see my mess here, but that's okay. And what I thought I would do is paint a rock, right? And then paint some easy fern-like growths coming out of the rock. And you'll see, I'm going to turn the camera off to do it, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and I think it's something that if you watch me do it once, you will have no problem doing it yourself. So yeah, I'm just going to paint it, and then I'll talk about it afterwards. Okay, so I did stop for a second and let the first layer dry before I came in to finish the second layer. And the rock is still very wet, and I'm not going to do anything more to it, so that's fine. I'll just leave it be. And so you just saw that I basically painted a very simple rock shape. You know, it could be any shape you want, but just something. And then I used granulating paints and just dropped them in, and I just gradually got darker down toward the bottom. And then on the second layer, I did that again. I see here where I missed a little bit. So very simple, just dropping in color into a light glaze in the beginning and getting gradually darker toward the bottom. And if you use more granulating paints, it'll have more of a rock-like feel. And for the plant, I just did really simple leaf shapes. I did two, and then I came back and I painted one on top a little bit darker. And I could join them with a paintbrush, but I think you could also join them with pencil. I have here a Copic multi-liner 0.05 in brown, and I think I'm going to use that. I've been using pens a lot lately, and I just think I might do that. So all I'm going to do is draw a line down to the rock and then make sure that my leaves are joining it. And sometimes they'll join it just because they touch it, and sometimes you'll have to draw a little line. So I'm going to do the same with this one. And just make sure that my leaves are joined to it. And then on this one here. So this is really, really simple, right? But sometimes that's all we have time for. And sometimes that's all we have the presence of mind for, to be quite honest. But there's nothing wrong with that. Simple is beautiful, right? And when you're using your favorite paints and creating just some beautiful different variations on the same few colors, you can get something that's very simple, but also very elegant and beautiful. And this reminds me, right? This reminds me that it's going to be okay. So I wanted to show you a little bit about mixing because I wasn't talking while I was painting. And some of you know this very well already, and some of you don't. And let me just grab a piece of paper here. Okay, I'm just going to use a little piece of this Legion paper. So you'll notice that all of these leaves are a little bit different, okay, but I only used a few colors. And how that happens is, let's say I start with this yellow, okay, and I put some of this yellow down on my palette, and I start with a leaf with that yellow, okay, and before I pick up more yellow, I might pick up a little bit of another color like this green ochre and just sort of mix it in just a little bit, okay, and I might pick up a little bit more of the green ochre so it has a little bit more in it for the next one. I might go back to the yellow, just pick up that and mix it in to what I already have on my brush. It's going to give me a different color still. I might pick up some bright green and mix it into what I already have on my brush. So you could pick 2, 3, 4, 5 colors and just keep painting this way. Every time you change the leaf to a new leaf, you grab a new color. I'll pick up some of this orange and mix it into what I had on my brush. So I'm not rinsing my brush, okay? I'm not rinsing my brush at all. Even if I went into some cerulean blue, you know, if I wanted to put a little bit of that into it, it's going to change the color yet again. And then I'll pick up even more cerulean blue. Every color has a little bit of the other colors in it, right? And that's how we create beautiful harmony in our work. So actually, no matter what I'm doing, I'm usually mixing it all on a plate, and there's a little bit of everything and everything else. And that's what That's how I personally achieve color harmony. So let's just keep going on this. So what happens if I put some red into it? You know, and when you're doing it this way, you can use as many colors as you want and still get color harmony. A little bit more red. So this red has a little bit of everything else in it. If I cleaned my brush and I only went into the red, it's going to stand out, right? It doesn't have the same harmony that the rest of it has. But if I take some of the other colors that I've got on my palette and mix it into that red, it's going to blend much better. Okay, so this is a really fun thing to learn and to try to use in all of your work. And this is the perfect kind of project to try it in. So let me just do a couple more. What if I use some really, really bright blue now? So we're going to get into some violet, right? But it's a violet that has everything else in it, right? So it does blend, going back to the green. And then maybe adding more blue into it. You know, so I'm always kind of sticking with the same little puddles. I'm not rinsing my brush, and I'm just building one color after the other. Here I might have done two, you know, and then added another color. And I only used probably 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 colors, maybe 5 in that. All sort of greens and yellows. But look at the variety that you can achieve. Can you see this? By using a whole bunch. You could use your whole paint box, and if you stuck to the same puddle while you're using those paints and you're just mixing one in after the other, you're going to achieve some beautiful, beautiful harmony in your work, no matter how many colors you use. Let's go to here's a really dark maroon. And you're also going to achieve some beautiful colors, beautiful nuanced colors that you might not ever think about doing otherwise. What if I put a really, really bright sap green? Oh, I went into the wrong pile, sorry. A really, really bright sap green in there. Okay, and just to show you, if I just went right into the sap green and painted it, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb amidst all the other ones. But then if I accidentally did that, all I would have to do is take some of my other puddle that I was using already. Probably too much paint there. Taking some of my original puddle and dropping it in, and it's going to mute it out a little bit and make it more harmonious with the rest. Okay, so I wanted to show you that technique. I was working on something this morning that I was using this technique a lot, and yeah, in fact, over here I was just doing some little doodads just to play, right? And all of these colors are mixed into the other colors, so there's this beautiful harmony within all of these colors. All right, so that is our lesson for today, and I hope you will try a rock with some foliage growing out of it to represent perseverance. For whatever it is in your life right now that you need to find that perseverance. All right, there's so many things that we go through where we need that on our side. All right, everybody, this is probably it for this week for me. I will be back Tuesday with a new video. I'm really sorry about that. I'm just overwhelmed. So this is it for this week. And we also had another video earlier this week. And I hope you will try this. And I've got my list of things to do, a new project next week. I'm really excited about that. All right, have a wonderful weekend. I'll be here checking in to see your beautiful work and to answer any questions that you have. And thank you so much, as always. Take care. little sneak preview. I'm standing here at my very, very, very messy desk. And I just wanted to show you this. This is the mock-up of my new book cover, and you are the only people in the world who get to see this. It's not the final image. Actually, I redid this painting because it wasn't big enough for the resolution, so I redid it. It's actually different. But this is basically what it's going to be. Watercolor is for everyone. Okay.